Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we start? Yeah.
श्रीराजो उवाच अपयेषवं शयं राजर्षि इन्द्रलोकान् महात्मनः प्रबन्धितव्रास्य युधिष्ठिरा साधुवादेरतमः. The good king Yudhishthir inquired, O great souls, will he become as saintly as kings, as pious in his very name, and as famous and glorified in his achievements, as others who appeared in the great royal family? The forefathers of King Yudhishthir were all great, saintly, pious kings and glorified by their great achievements. They were all saints on the royal throne, and therefore all the members of the state were happy, pious, well behaved, and therefore all well behaved, prosperous, and spiritually enlightened. Under strict guidance of the great souls and spiritual injunctions, such great saintly kings were trained up, and as a result, the kingdom was full of saintly people and was a happy land for spiritual life. Maharaj Yudhishthira was himself a replica of his ancestors, and he desired that the next king after him become exactly like his great forefathers. He was happy to learn from the learned Brahmanas that by astrological calculations, the child would be born a first great devotee of the Lord, and more confidentially, he wanted to know whether the child was going to follow in the footsteps of his great forefathers. That is the way of monarchical state. The reigning king should be a pious, chivalrous devotee of the Lord, and fear personified for the upstarts. He must also leave an heir apparent equally qualified to rule over the innocent citizens. In the modern setup of democratic states, the people themselves are fallen to the qualities of the Shudra or less, and the government is run by a representative who is ignorant of the scriptural mode of administrative education. Thus, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with Shudra qualities manifested by lust and avarice. Such administrators quarrel every day among themselves, and the cabinet of ministers changes often due to party and group selfishness. Everyone wants to exploit the state resources till he dies. No one retires from political life unless forced to do so. How can such low grade men do good to the people? The result is corruption, intrigue, and hypocrisy. They should learn from the Srimad Bhagavatam how ideal the administrators must be before they can be given the charge of different posts.
Hare Krishna. So, not only Yudhishthira Maharaj was a perfect good king, he wanted the next king also to be perfect and good. It is a leader's responsibility that after he retires, and he should retire, he should give a successor to the subjects. He should retire, not that somebody should murder me, then only I will leave. Political assassinations, or somebody forces you. He should retire. And B, he should give a successor. Not that after I leave, I don't care whatever happens. No, the responsibility should be passed to a trained, responsible new leader. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is concerned that after me, this boy, he will become the king, but then he should be qualified. He should have all the good qualities, good character, good skills, good talent, and above all, he should be first class devotee of Krishna. Nowadays, government and leaders, they are not qualified because they are chosen among unqualified people and they are chosen by unqualified people. So, the democracy for the people, of the people, by the people, actually, there's a hidden word that for the unqualified people, by the unqualified people, of the unqualified people. So when unqualified people select one of their unqualified member as a qualifying person on a qualified post, the result is chaos, which we see around us. It's chaos all around as far as spiritual life is concerned. There's rampant permission for meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex, and no spiritual education in the name of secularism. So all kind of demonic activities are being promoted, and all kind of donkeys are coming out of colleges and universities, giving rise to another donkeys. So it's all animalistic society in the name of civilization, in the name of shirt and pant and boot. It's all animalistic society. So that's because of all uneducated Shudras and lower people becoming the leaders. So ISKCON is made for this purpose, to give good brahmanas to the society who can lead. But lots of work has to be done because even today ISKCON's leadership is in question because some leaders have abused the power and not always had good character. So the good cleaning is required in all of us. So we should learn from these passages that if you want to continue as a leader of the society or even of one person in your department or in your project, you need to imbibe this quality. It's not that Yudhishthira Maharaj, because he's leader of the whole planet, so he should have good qualities. I am leader of 10 boys, I don't need to have good qualities. No, whether one boy, 10 boy or whole planet, the qualities are same. As we discussed, no personal ambition, no fruitive activity, no sense gratification, continuous engagement in Krishna's service. That kind of qualities are required. Otherwise, even if one boy is under me, I will damage his spiritual life. And he will not grow substantially. There may be some growth because something has to be there to continue the relationship. But that will not be substantial. So these qualities have to be imbibed. Okay? Next.
Text 19. Brahmana Uchu.
Okay, wait. So next few verses we are not going to discuss in this way. We had an assignment yesterday. Are we able to complete it? Can I have a look? Gather. One more devotee can gather. Okay, who wants to come and write on the board? Wait. The question is who wants to come and write on the board? So the person should himself say. If I ask the question, please suggest somebody, then you can suggest somebody. So this is a voluntary thing. Not I am not making an appointment. Who wants to come? Nobody? How come? Do we have pens for the board? Is there anybody who couldn't submit the assignment? You come on the board. No problem. The reason this assignment was given is for learning.
I read the thing.
So if you come on the board, you will learn. No problem. Everybody can understand your writing, right? No problem. You can understand your writing, right? Do we have pen? Oh, is it? So what we will do is same thing you copy on the board as everybody reads the verse. Okay? So those who submitted, you give this back, not to the same person, to a different person. So your friend's assignment will come in your hand and you have to give marks to it. Those who submitted, huh? Those who didn't submit, they don't get. So yesterday you do assignment, now your assessment. You will assess, you will give marks out of 10. Yeah, we got the pen? You know the assignment, right? So now one devotee will read the translation. From that you capture the quality and the name and you write down in the table. And if the Prabhu on the board misses something, any one of you who realize that he has missed can prompt him. And accordingly, what is on the board, based on that you correct it on the paper. Okay, is that okay? Is that complicated? No, huh? You're intelligent people. Okay. Yeah, start. You, Chaitanya Jivan was reading? Only translations. Oh, you were reading?
Text 19 translation. The learned Brahmana said, O Shanapritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ichwaku, the son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born.
Wait. You have to read slowly for him to capture, huh?
Like Ichwaku, in maintaining all those who are born.
We can keep it short, Raspberry, Ishwaku and maintainer. That's sufficient. You don't have to write full sentences.
And as far as
if anything is missed, you please prompt because I am not able to see it. Huh?
in as far as for following the Brahmanical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Lord Ram, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Dasrath.
Next.
This child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous king Sibi of the Ushinara country. And he will expand the name and fame of his family, like Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta.
We don't have good pens? Next.
This child will be a munificent donor of charity. Okay. As amongst great bowmen, this child will be as good as Arjuna.
Space, huh? You could have divided the board. Go on.
Among great bowmen, this child will be as good as Arjuna. He will be as irresistible as fire, and as unsurpassable as the ocean.
He has to capture also. He is not as fast as you are reading.
As irresistible as fire. Unsurpassable as ocean.
Why don't we have one more devotee come up? Who wants to come? Govind Kumar. We should divide the board. You take the second half. Okay? One verse, 21, 22, 23, like this you do, huh? Is that okay?
I will do it here.
Okay. Next verse. So you be prepared. You have mobile to read. You be prepared. Next verse. Kaushal, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. This child will be as strong as lion
Govind Kumar, your verse. Okay.
and as worthy a shelter as the hill.
God of the Kailash hill, Shiva, and
You come this side.
he will be the resort of everyone, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, who is even the shelter of the Goddess of Fortune.
Okay, next.
This child will be almost as good as Lord Sri Krishna by following in his footsteps. In magnanimity, he will become as great as King Ranti Dev. And in religion, he will be like Maharaj Yayati.
Next. You continue here, no? What happening?
Verse number 25. This child will be like Bali Maharaj in patience.
His staunch devotee. His staunch devotee of Lord Krishna like Prahlad Maharaj. Staunch Prahlad Maharaj.
Done.
A performer of many Ashwamedha horse sacrifices and a follower of the old and experienced men.
The word is Satguna Pravi. Good qualities maybe. है ना? Satguna word है ना? Sanskrit.
Okay. Did everybody read the purports? No? We have next life also, don't worry. So, did you correct the assess the papers of your friends? God gave the marks? No? Give out of 10. Okay, so the papers will be returned back later. You can see your marks and what you missed. Okay. Rasbihari Prem Prabhu and Govind Kumar Prabhu, thank you. So, this is one very nice aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein so many personalities you remember just by discussing few verses about future of Parikshit Maharaj when he was a child. So this is just an sample. It doesn't mean he doesn't have other good qualities which are not mentioned here. For example, compassion. Is compassion mentioned here? Will Parikshit Maharaj be compassionate? Like whom? Mother Earth, Lord Shiva. Actually, it's mentioned here. We'll have to find out.
Many words we don't know exact meaning, like munificent and charitable. Like almost like similar. They sound similar. Lord Shiva, the word in Sanskrit word is prasade. What does prasade mean? Like he becomes Ashutosh or protection. In English he feels upon it. So like many words come in the description which can fit this.
So compassion, where does it fit?
Magnanimous. Like if charity is taken for
Forbearing like all. That is multiple.
Where does compassion fit?
All.
Forgiveness.
forbearance,
That's tolerance or patience. Forgiveness. Honest. Truthful. So, we missed one very important point. Shabbat, let's clap for him. Read that verse. Read that verse.
एते कृष्ण अनुवर्तितः रन्तिदेव इरो देवो ययातिरेव धर्मुक्ष.
Read the translation.
Translation: This child will be almost as good as Lord Shri Krishna by following in his footsteps. In magnanimity, he will become as
Yeah.
great as king.
So, so because the astrologers couldn't give all the list, they added this. That will be as good as Lord Krishna, which means he'll have all good qualities like Lord Krishna. Okay? Good. Thank you. Should we go next? Okay, next.
Hare Krishna. Rajarshinaam Janita Shasta Chotpadgaminam Grihita Kaleresha Bhuvo Dharmasya Karanat. This child will be the father of kings who will be like sages. For world peace and for the sake of religion, he will be the chastiser of the upstarts and the quarrelsome.
Wait. So now, after describing his future qualities, the sages are describing his future activities. How is he and what he will do? His skills and talents. An actual future, what will happen with him? Because the original question was about his death. So that is being described. Okay? We will not read the purports of this. I request you please read them. Is that okay? Or you want to go in more details? These are just activities. We will not read the purport. Go ahead. Next verse.
तक्षदात्मनो मृत्युं द्विजपुत्रोपसर्जित प्रपस्तस्य उपश्रुत्य मुक्तसंगा पदं हरे. After hearing about his death, which will be caused by the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of a Brahmana, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the personality of Godhead, taking shelter of him. Purport. Material attachment and taking shelter of the lotus
Go ahead, go ahead.
lotus feet of the Lord go ill together. Material attachment means ignorance of transcendental happiness under the shelter of the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord while existing in the material world is a way to practice one's transcendental relation with the Lord. And when it is matured, one gets completely free from all material attachment and becomes competent to go back home, back to Godhead. Maharaj Parikshit, being especially attached to the Lord from the beginning of his body in the womb of his mother, was continuously under the shelter of the Lord, and the warning of his death within 7 days from the date of the curse by the Brahmana's son was a boon to him to enable him to prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. Since he was always protected by the Lord, he could have avoided the effect of such a curse by the grace of the Lord. But he did not take such undue advantage for nothing. Rather, he made the best use of a bad bargain. For 7 days continuously he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, and thus he got shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord by that opportunity.
So Parikshit Maharaj is so great, and such a seemingly worst event happened with him. He was cursed by a 5-year-old Brahmana boy, which was not justified. But because he tolerated the curse, because he didn't try to counter it and accepted it, it became a very great event for the whole history of the society that Srimad Bhagavatam was revealed for the future. And that's how we are having this Bhakti Vaibhav class. So that is how a great devotee who is not attached to anything can convert everything as an opportunity for spiritual growth. Srimad Bhagavatam is going to educate us that we see reverses in life as opportunities for spiritual growth. rather than sit and cry over them. In material education, we are taught if there's a problem, solve it. In Bhagavatam, we are not taught if there's a problem, solve it. We're taught if a problem, take shelter of Krishna. Whether it gets solved or not, your life will be solved. Prahlad Maharaj, did he try to solve his problem of repeated violence by Hiranyakashipu? No. Narad Muni, when his mother died, did he try to solve that problem? No. We have so many examples. Vidura, when in front of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana insulted him, he didn't try to solve that problem. He used it as an opportunity and took shelter of Maitreya Rishi and heard Srimad Bhagavatam. So, our life should be based on Srimad Bhagavatam, not to solve problems, but to see problems as opportunities for spiritual growth. If our focus is spiritual growth, then only we can do this in mode of goodness. Just like a businessman, he goes to a place not for business, for something else. But if he is focused on business and profit, he will there also think how I can earn in this place. Can I have an opportunity in the future to earn something from this place? So if the focus is spiritual growth, we will not see problems, we will see opportunities. If that is not the focus, then we will cry over this material existence, which is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Problems are bound to happen. So Srimad Bhagavatam is there to revolutionize our thought process, not to carry the same thought process before getting educated in Srimad Bhagavatam and stay in Brahmacharya ashram. No, not to carry the same thought process of profit and loss, pain and pleasure, comfort and discomfort, convenience and inconvenience, honor and dishonor, true and false, me and you, my and your. These are all attachments, dualities. Spiritual world, there is no duality. Material world, full of duality. If I want to go from material world to spiritual world, I have to give up duality. So where I have to, after going to spiritual world or before going to spiritual world? So right here I have to give up duality. So till I am under the duality in my thinking, I will always be bothered about material existence. The only way is to come out of dualities. And that happens when you come out of attachments, material attachments. So Parikshit Maharaj is not attached. So he didn't respond to the curse in an ordinary way. He tolerated. And the result was the birth of Srimad Bhagavatam. What an amazing event. So if we do not do an ordinary response to our ordinary problems, we'll have a different result. We'll have fruit of spiritual growth in our heart. But if we keep responding like ordinary people, we'll have ordinary reactions. Newton's third law. That's all. Ordinary reactions will happen. And we'll not live an extraordinary life of a Mahatma. We'll not lead an extraordinary life of a sadhu. We just drag our life. So in these passages of Srimad Bhagavatam, we should learn to revolutionize our thinking, to have a different thought process, to go beyond dualities, beyond attachments, beyond I, me, my, mine, and see how I can take shelter of Krishna in all circumstances and grow. Seeing everything happening to a devotee is given by Krishna, given by Radha Ras Bihari. And why will he give you? if it is not good for you. So he is giving you why? So that you grow. And we reject it. And we solve it. We remove it. So morning we pray Mangalati, my dear Lord, please engage me in your devotional service, pure devotional service. Let me advance in spiritual life. And daytime he creates an event for our advancement. And we try to sort it out. We try to finish it out. We try to destroy that event. Why? Because it is painful. And I don't want pain. I want growth without pain. Not possible. Because growth means you change the state. And any change is painful. Right? If I tell you now, left side people, devotees sit right side, left side. Change your seats. Would you be enjoying? No, I say, what Prabhuji is doing? Why don't he just teach Bhagavatam? What is this? And we don't like change. And growth means what? Change. So morning we pray for growth. And afternoon a change happens we don't like. So we avoid the change. We solve it. And then we get very good satisfaction. I solved the problem. I took care of the event which Krishna sent me for my growth and successfully avoided it. And next day morning we stand in Mangalarti, Krishna, I want to grow. He will be laughing. Pagal hai kya? Yesterday I gave you, you avoided it. So pain is welcome. Confusion is welcome. That's okay. It helps us to go beyond dualities, beyond attachments. So we should start thinking like the characters are thinking in Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj could have went and renegotiated with Shringi and Shamik Rishi. Parikshit Maharaj could have cursed Shringi Rishi. Parikshit Maharaj could have on the spot shot an arrow and killed the Takshak bird. Parikshit Maharaj could have made a yajna and killed all the snakes of the world before 7 days. Parikshit Maharaj could have made a fort and stay inside, fully protected that the snake cannot come inside. Parikshit Maharaj could have prayed to Krishna, my dear Lord, please protect me. You protected me from Brahmastra, now you protect me from this snake. Or he could have surrounded himself with able soldiers that the snake cannot enter his company. And he could have done so many other things. But what did he choose to do? Fasting on the bank of Ganges. Does it look like a proper response? No. But he did that. Snake is coming to kill me. I will stay in open in front of the Ganges. Let him kill. I'll fast. And there comes Sukadeva Goswami, inspired by Krishna to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is revealed to the whole world. See what kind of response he gave. Even a fictional writer cannot think of this response possible. How the story should continue. If you give him half story till the curse and tell him how the story should continue, no fictional writer can come out with this response. So those who read fictions, they are missing something very great. If you tell somebody Hiranyakashipu's half story after the curses he got from Brahma and tell any author of the world, will he come out with a character called Narsingadev? So what is the use of reading these literatures, these books? No use. These movies, these videos. Third class. I'm sorry. Fourth class. Again I am sorry. Fifth class. It's worst. Maya, Prajalpa. Read Bhagavatam. Every day, whole day. Your thought process will change. You will stay in the same world in a different thoughts, in a different way, responding differently to same situations which you are facing every day and others are facing every day. And beyond duality, you will be joyful. That's the person in the spiritual world. And Prabhupada created ISKCON for that purpose, to go back to the spiritual world. So these episodes are very important. How devotees are reacting to distress and reverses in life. And one thing is common, that they are tolerating. Without tolerance, we cannot get spiritual growth. So instead of reacting, if we start tolerating, we come out of dualities. If we react, we again continue inside under dualities. Reaction based on passion and ignorance. So we should imbibe this, desire this, to go beyond dualities. Okay? Yes, speak in mic, Chaitanya, Prabhu. So those who are sitting down, it's good if I see your faces. Chaitanya Jivan Prabhu, can you readjust your chair so I can see Madhav's face? Careful, careful. Yeah, okay. Yes.
Prabhuji, how I understand is, we react and then at the same time we depend on Krishna.
At the same time?
We depend on Krishna. Say for example, if somehow I missed my prasadam in the morning, I came late and the prasadam got over. So then I search for some places where I can get prasadam. Not that I just depend on Krishna. कि ठीक है, Krishna का इच्छा था. So similarly, like I was just thinking about Parikshit Maharaj. So he could have also thought that if, say, I protect myself from this snake, I can get more time to devotional service. And then even if somehow the snake anyways bites me, then that's Krishna's wish. So we respond, we find solutions, and at the same time we depend on Krishna. Not that we just depend on Krishna.
So he didn't do that.
So what should we...
So when you say I respond and depend on Krishna, and means here A and B, two. So why there are two? So the response should include dependence on Krishna. So when you are searching an alternative source of prasad, that's dependence on Krishna. You are not going outside the temple and eating in a restaurant. So you are still depending on Krishna, because Krishna's instruction is for devotees to have prasad. You are still searching for alternative source of prasad only. You are with me? Right? So, going outside in a restaurant because I cannot tolerate hunger would be not depending on Krishna. Seeking alternative source of prasad is still depending on Krishna. And that's fine. But in Vedic times, if a boy doesn't get prasad, he will say, Guru wants me to fast. You see the difference? So there they will be engaged in more austerities. We are not requesting devotees to do that. But I am explaining there are other thought processes also in the same situation. Okay? So you are looking alternative source of prasad, that's still Krishna conscious. That's fine.
So if somehow, say, we are misunderstood in some situation, for example, then do we justify and at the same time depend on Krishna, or we just say, "ठीक है"?
It depends. Whether you have a forum where you can provide an explanation, you provide. But if such a forum doesn't exist, you should still be peaceful. See, the point is, this is very external point, whether I justify myself or not. Internally, are you peaceful if somebody misjudges you? That's a higher point. If somebody says Chaitanya Prabhu is thief, and you are not, Are you peaceful with that? That's a higher point. If you are agitated by that, then every day I can agitate you. I just have to send one message, copy and paste.
And what I'm trying to say is...
Wait. So every day I can agitate you and disturb your bhakti. So in other words, have a remote control. Angry, happy, joy. I have remote control of Chaitanya Prabhu. Let me make him angry at 2 p.m. today. I know how to do it. Let me make him happy at 2 p.m. today. I know how to do it. Just give him sweet samosa. Or just spread some bad message about him in a group. And if 10-20 people have remote controls, how will be your life? Roller coaster. Right? So Bhagavatam is talking of not just responding to misjudgment, but I am peaceful. Am I composed? Hiranyakashipu is trying to kill Prahlad and he is composed and peaceful and calm. And his preaching is more and more stronger. He goes and says to Hiranyakashipu that you are not qualified for going to Vrindavan and practicing bhakti because your senses are not in control. To whom he is saying this? Who had already attempted to kill him. He will again do the same thing. But he is peacefully preaching to him. Narad Muni goes to Daksh Prajapati, who cursed him that why did you make my boys brahmacharis who they were about to marry. He goes to the same Daksh Prajapati who cursed him. Why? Oh, he is unhappy. Even though he is unhappy because of me, he thinks I am the cause of his unhappiness, but actually his cause of unhappiness is his attachment to his sons. But he is unhappy. So it's a good chance to preach to him because unhappy people can hear Bhagavatam nicely. Right? So this is talking on a different level, not on an ordinary level. So whether I justify him or not, whether it's a good etiquette or not, that's a valid question. But what we are discussing is, are you peaceful if you don't justify? Right? So whom you want to give your remote control? Okay, make a list. So this is talking about internal steadiness. No attachment to my reputation. No attachment to my name and fame. This is what it's talking about. Read the verse again. Translation.
26. After hearing about his death, which will be caused by the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of a Brahmana, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the personality of Godhead, taking shelter of him.
So these two things are very important. No material attachment and shelter. Completely sheltered at Krishna's feet. This is what we want eventually by staying in ISKCON. Rather than a dilemma, should I explain myself or not? Do we want this dilemma till the end of life? Or do we want this, what is written in the verse? That dilemma exists because of attachment. Attachment to reputation. Right? So we want to be away from attachment. Okay, we'll discuss this more. This is going to come again and again. Yes, Sharat.
Was a pure devotee right from birth. That's how Krishna protected him. So why here material attachment is written? Freed from material attachment.
So material attachment here involves I am a king. This is my praja. These are my weapons. This is my son. This is my queen. This is my throne. So even those things. So this is symbolical, that he gave up his kingdom, he gave up his queen, he gave his treasury, he gave his gifts, he gave his royal clothes, he gave his army, he gave his horses, elephants, weapons. His duty as a king, his duty as a protector of the praja. Whenever you go on the chariot, he will carry weapons. Right? Why weapons? Will Krishna not protect him second time? Then why weapons? So there is still I, me, my, mine. That doesn't mean he is not a pure devotee. He is exhibiting such qualities as a king in this material world. So we don't judge Parikshit Maharaj as not pure devotee because he's saying this is my kingdom. He's playing a role to teach us that when you are on a post, you will have these dualities. Without these dualities, you cannot perform your task. But eventually you have to come out of it. So when you are on the post, you should be out of dualities, even though you are performing the task. Internally, you should be out of dualities. And when the opportunity comes, you should actually take it off. So attachment means I, me, my, mine. So any of this is there is still attachment. Except I am servant of Krishna. I am a brahmachari, that's an attachment. I am a boy, that's an attachment. My department, that's an attachment. My dhoti kurta, that's an attachment. So we have to come out of all the attachments and all the dualities.
Krishna wanted him to be the king.
Yes. So on his level there is nothing less. He is a pure devotee. On a level of a king, a person should be free from such attachment at the end of life. That is what is taught about. He is used as an example for us to learn. So we never judge the characters of Bhagavatam. It may be okay to judge as a expression of learning, but basically it's only for us to learn. The sitting on a king platform, a thought of my kingdom can come, and that's an attachment. My wife, my child, my chariot, that's an attachment.
Because if we see
So he played a role of an attached person. And he's now playing a role of a non-attached person. The first role is pretense. The second role is real. He is really not attached. Like Arjuna was put into illusion, but he's not into illusion. He clearly knows Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he was put into illusion, so Bhagavad Gita is revealed. So this whole thing is happening so that Bhagavatam is revealed.
But then if you see like that, then so many characters in Bhagavatam, they didn't give up. Because, like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, they continued as a king. So how to understand then? There is nothing like attachment, like one can be detached and continue as a duty because Krishna wanted that.
Yes. So two pure devotees may act completely contrary to each other for the same situation. That's fine. So what defines is not external, what defines is internal. But for the purpose of the mission, they may act in a particular way and give us a learning. So we get a learning from Priyavrat Maharaj, that do your duty. We get a learning from Parikshit Maharaj to renounce, because both are important. In our life, we have to do both. We have to do our duties also and we have to renounce also. So at a particular stage of your life and a particular requirement, you take this as an inspiration. And another requirement, you take this as an inspiration. You take inspiration from Rupa Goswami sitting under a tree. You take inspiration from Pratap Rudra, who is arranging prasadam for all the guests in Jagannath Puri. So if you are a king, you do this. If you are not a king, you do this. So we get inspiration from both. We don't define one line. We don't define one path. That's called maturity. So some sannyasi may allow his clothes to be washed. Some sannyasi may not allow his clothes to be washed. Which is right, which is wrong? Oh, this sannyasi is so simple. He doesn't allow his clothes to wash. He washes himself. This sannyasi is very proud. He allows. This devotee is very proud. Or we say, this sannyasi is so merciful. He allows others to wash his clothes so that they get spiritual Vaishnava seva. But this sannyasi is not merciful. He doesn't allow. No, don't judge. Both are correct. At different stage of bhakti, different inspiration we receive from different examples. And both can be wrong also. A devotee who has pride in his heart and external humility of not allowing his clothes, that is also not appropriate. Right? So, don't judge by dress and by address. Don't judge. We should never be judgmental and not at all to the characters of Bhagavatam. It's a learning we have to take. And you will find multiple times in your life, you will have two philosophical instructions opposite to each other, two examples opposite to each other. And our intelligence should be fine with it. Not every time create a dilemma in our thinking. Bhagavatam is having contradictions. Krishna, absolute truth, has contradictions. And that's fine. It is our modern science and modern education which doesn't allow us to deal with contradictions. If statement A is true, minus A should be false. That's the very basic of our science and logic and our present education. But Bhagavatam is beyond this. In Bhagavatam, A is true, minus A is true. So this logic of A and minus A, true and false, we have to keep it outside the door. Otherwise we'll be in dualities, true and false, A and minus A. So whole mathematics, whole physics is based on this logic, A and minus A, true and false. 0, 1. That's what gates we study, right? Whole thing is based on this, bakwas, complete bakwas. Bhagavatam is not based on this. Bhagavatam is beyond rationality, beyond contradictions, beyond normal logic. So if somebody says it's illogical, yes. But because it's a negative word, we don't use it. But actually it's illogical. It's not illogical, it's beyond our normal logic. So our logic is not adequate to understand Bhagavatam. So we have a wrong tool. It's like using a scale to measure your weight. Is scale good? Yes, to measure distances, short distances. But if I use the scale to measure weight, and I say, hey, this scale is very bad, get me a branded scale, this is bakwas, which factory made it? No, you are using a wrong tool to take weights. Weight cannot be taken by a scale. By scale, I mean the compass box mein jo scale hota hai. So just the tool is wrong. So our logic is a wrong tool to understand Bhagavatam. So you have to give up this logic and material education, what it is based on. Then only we can understand Bhagavatam. Otherwise we'll understand only some surface concepts, not deeper concepts. Okay? Logical? Is the illogical explanation logical? Yes, Gopal. After that, Govind Kumar. Mike.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, many times we hear that we should give up material attachments, but it's not easy from our own endeavor. And sometimes it becomes even more difficult for us when we try to come out of it. So in this case, what should be our preparation, or how should we endeavor to give up all this? Because we see many times when we hear philosophy and all, it is very right, correct. Being in Bhagavatam class, practically hearing it from the speaker helps us to a good extent. But again, those thoughts brood us, and again it becomes more and more difficult. Of course, now we are sitting in Bhagavatam class, again it is very good. But after we go out from here, again the material attachments and the previous failures, that brood us a lot, and we keep on brooding many times, like material failures, etc. So how should we endeavor to come out of it?
So don't get attached to give up material attachment. Get attached to Krishna. Ours is a positive process. So keep hearing Bhagavatam. If by hearing 2 hours you feel, it's nice, but after the hearing of 2 hours you feel, oh, it's very difficult, hear for 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours. Just as you are distributing Bhagavatam, you read also Bhagavatam. So we just take shelter of Bhagavatam more. If 2 hours can make a simple thought that it's easy, after 2 hours it becomes difficult. Let's make it 4 hours and see what will happen. Let's make it 6 hours. So our process to get attached to Krishna. Not just material attachment, removal of material attachment. That will never work. Because mind will always need something. So we don't try to be free from material attachment, we try to get attached to Krishna.
Okay, so we should increase our process, or we should increase our more and more endeavor to get Krishna.
Yeah, and we should have hope. Even if there are failures in the past, but we should have hope that Radha Ras Bihari is very merciful. By his blessings, I can be successful. And still, if you have some dejection, don't worry at all. You can do this next life also. Not good idea, right? So this life itself we have to do, so we should be very highly determined that I will struggle and try again. I will be successful by Krishna's mercy. I will not give it up. I will not give it up. Go and cry to Radha Ras Bihari. My Lord, I can't do this. I can't give up my attachments. I can't give up my bad habits. I can't give up my lust. My Lord, I can't do. I am chanting, I am doing Mangalarti, I am praying to you, I am having prasadam, I am hearing Bhagavatam, I am associating with devotees, I am distributing books, but it's not happening, my Lord. Cry to him. The day you shed first tear, there will be no more fear. Clear?
Prabhuji, I have one more question.
My dear.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji, you mentioned that Bhagavatam informs us to, instead of solving your problem, take attachment to Krishna. Now here like example, a college student or a school student who is failing in subjects. So should he, instead of solving his failure, take attachment to Krishna more, or should we try to solve his problem? Like what better understanding? Because we find sometimes material attachments or failures distract us even in spiritual life. Like example, if I have failed, suppose miserably in my college life, or if my case, if I say I would have not achieved a particular degree, etc., for me to take spiritual life would have been difficult. So what should be our endeavor there?
No problem. If somebody tries, he can try till he has capacity and continue to serve Krishna. Those who didn't fail, what they are doing great today? Just becoming a dog in some company, that's all. Is that success or fail? They passed out college and failed somewhere else. What is the big deal?
Correct, but some material attachment or some, you can say, degree, etc., is sometimes to person, where it is required for him to grow in spiritual life. Like example, I feel in college life would have been not successful myself. Maybe I would have been not at least coming to this path of brahmacharya process where I was given some time to at least work in some company, etc. This is what my understanding is.
Not necessary. College life or coming in contact with devotees in IYF is not a cause of bhakti. Some other event would have occurred and Krishna would attract us. Degree is not a great thing. Take my degree and show me spiritual growth. I'll cut my name and put your name. That will not work. How you will get spiritual growth by the degree?
I'm just saying, like, it is person to person, not with everyone.
No, it's not a requirement. The degree is only to show to a company that I can be a good dog. Sorry, good knocker. No, not good knocker. Good executive. Same thing. That's the only purpose. The only purpose of degree is to go to show somebody that I can be a good knocker, give me nokri. There's no other purpose of that paper. It is not even used later on. So there may be some material event which occurred by which we get attracted to Krishna consciousness, but that doesn't mean that material event caused our bhakti. The cause of bhakti is bhakti. No karma is cause of bhakti. Only Krishna, not even Krishna. Krishna's devotees, who preach, their bhakti is cause of our bhakti. Bhakti is independent of degree, college, karma, pious activities, karma kand, puja, tapasya, knowledge. Bhakti is independent of that. Okay? Govind Kumar Prabhu.
So many thoughts came to me, but I don't know whether we have time. So
we do overtime.
So one thought was this point came upon that when someone is accused, whether he should save his name or not. So in Krishna Leela, when Shamantak Mani, that accusation happened, so then Krishna tried to save his name. So I was just thinking, maybe if we are on our own, then it does not matter much. But because we are representing an institution, we will have to protect our name so that society's name is protected and we can do effective preaching. Otherwise, who would listen if our character is question mark? So is it right then to do something about it?
Yes. As I told you, it depends on the circumstances and the forum. So there's nothing right or wrong answer to this. Somebody may keep quiet and that is right. Somebody may speak about it and that is right. Right? So that's okay. So we have to protect Guru's name, Prabhupada's name, ISKCON name, definitely. And if it is related to the spoiling of our name, we have to respond to it. But internally what we are affected about, that is what defines our principles of Bhagavatam. Internally I am affected because I am attached to my reputation or I am attached to ISKCON's reputation. Internally I am peaceful after knowing this or I am not peaceful after knowing this. Internally I am steady or I am thinking to hell with all this. That is what we are talking about. Our internal growth and internal situation is more important. Then how you respond is secondary. Whether you respond or not. It's like that. Okay?
Thank you. And Prabhuji, like here we see that the sages have already predicted the death of Parikshit Maharaj in this way, Takshak. So then we can say that it was already known to Parikshit Maharaj this would happen. So then when the event occurred, he could take it. Okay, this was already destined.
Yes and no. It's not necessarily true. We all know death is going to come to each one of us. How we don't know, when we don't know, but we know death is going to come.
Here specifically it was already...
Okay, we don't have specifics of date, time and circumstances, but are we still prepared that one day it will happen? It's going to be very painful. Right? So, yes or no. So, Parikshit Maharaj, what you are saying is correct. If I am aware of the event, I may be more mentally prepared about it. But Parikshit Maharaj is prepared about it not because of that. Irrespective of that, he is prepared about it because he is always sheltered at Krishna's feet. So he used it as an opportunity to take shelter of Krishna's feet, took shelter of Mother Ganga, Vaishnavas and Krishna. He says that. When the event happens and you read those chapters, he will say that I am using this as an opportunity to fast at the here and take shelter of Ganga, Vaishnavas and Krishna. And he tells Sukdev Goswami, whatever happens, that snake bird comes and bites me, I don't care, I just want to hear Bhagavatam. So that is a well-composed response because he's attached to Krishna and attached to hearing Krishna Katha. It's not a well-composed response just because he's mentally prepared, because he's aware. Even somebody is aware, but he's attached, that will be very difficult. Okay?
And Prabhuji, I have not confirmed this. I have not read Mahabharata, but I have heard so that in Mahabharata there is a different version of how Parikshit Maharaj left. So here we read that Parikshit Maharaj fasted and he was hearing Bhagavatam and he was fearless. But in Mahabharata, it is described that he made arrangements and he was fearful, and then he, in spite of making all arrangements, he was bitten by the Takshaka bird and he left. So then, which version do we accept? Like, of course, we accept Bhagavatam, but then why did Vyasadeva give a different version in Mahabharata?
Mahabharata is for a different audience.
But the event was the same.
No. See, any event can have external observation and internal observation, a different point of view. So Bhagavatam is giving a highest point of view. It's talking about his internal situation of surrender and sheltered. Mahabharata is only talking about historical event. Right? Like, how was Rath Yatra? So much crowded, nice, so much heat, and it didn't rain also, so that was nice, and they gave nice prasad. There's one observation. Another, how was Rath Yatra? Jagannath is so merciful, he comes out and gives darshan, and there was so nice kirtan and dancing. Right? How was Rath Yatra? They met so late, every time they make late and make traffic jam and disturb the whole city. 3 different people talking same event. Right? So, Mahabharata is not for devotees. You didn't read, that's fine. You didn't read, so you don't get confused. Simple. We just follow Bhagavatam. I also didn't read Mahabharata. Not required. Right? We just follow Bhagavatam. Somebody asks you a question, you say, I didn't read Mahabharata, so I don't know. Baat khatam. Why to dwell on it? Okay? Devotees know this answer. Any question you cannot answer is a kalpa ved. Okay, very intelligent. So I didn't use that because I know you all use that. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has written a very nice essay on Ramanand Rai. In same essay, he has written 2 people seeing Ramanand Rai, a materialist person and a devotee. And he very nicely explains. So in the same way, those who approach Mahabharata, they are very different audience than those who approach Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, same Vyasadeva has written, Mahabharata same Vyasadeva has written. So that is written for different audience who will not read Bhagavatam, who are lower intelligence. Bhagavatam is for Nirmad Saranam, higher intelligence. So we just stick to this version. You will find differences in many more events which are common in Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, including Krishna's pastimes, including the shooting of Brahmastra by Ashwatthama, including Krishna's disappearance. But for devotee, that's not interesting. Same author has given a mature book, so we read that for us. That's for different audience. You pick up 8th standard physics and you pick up MSc physics. Same concept explained two different ways. You will not pick up that and say, no, you understand. Bachcha kya samjhega? So they make a circle, electron. Electron is circle kya? Right? SPDF, all bakwas. Like that. Okay? Next. Too much, huh? Heavy? The atmosphere is changing, huh? Okay, next.
जिजिज्ञासितात्मा यथार्थयो मुनिर्व्यास सुतद असो हित्वेदम नृपगंगायाम यास्यति अद्धा कुतो भयम. After inquiring about proper self-knowledge from the son of Vyasadeva, who will be a great philosopher, he will renounce all material attachment and achieve a life of fearlessness.
Purport.
Material knowledge means ignorance of the knowledge of one's own self. Philosophy means to seek after the right knowledge of one's own self, or the knowledge of self-realization. Without self-realization, philosophy is dry speculation or a waste of time and energy. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the right knowledge of one's own self, and by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can get free from material attachment and enter into the kingdom of fearlessness. This material world is fearfulness. Its prisoners are always fearful, as within a prison house. In the prison house, no one can violate the jail rules and regulations, and violating the rules means another term for extension of prison life. Similarly, we in this material existence are always fearful. This fearfulness is called anxiety. Everyone in the material life, in all species and varieties of life, is full of anxieties, either by breaking or without breaking the laws of nature. Liberation or mukti means getting relief from these constant anxieties. This is possible only when the anxiety is changed to the devotional service of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the chance to change the quality of anxiety from matter to spirit. This is done in the association of a learned philosopher like the self-realized Shukdev Goswami, the great son of Sri Vyasadeva. Maharaj Parikshit, after receiving the warning of his death, took advantage of this opportunity by association with Shukdev Goswami and achieved the desired result. There is a sort of imitation of this reciting and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam by professional men, and their foolish audience thinks that they will get free from the clutches of material attachment and attain life of fearlessness. Such imitative hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is a caricature only. And one should not be misled by such a performance of Bhagavatam Saptaha undertaken by ridiculous, greedy fellows to maintain an establishment of material enjoyment.
Okay, clear? So he used that opportunity to hear Bhagavatam. So we use all our opportunities to increase our participation in Krishna conscious processes. Chanting, hearing, book distribution, service, deity worship, whatever. Whatever you are doing, try to increase. Whatever happens in life, try to increase. So that's how we use our opportunities. So all material attachments gone. So to continue answering Sharad's question, even the body is a material attachment. Parikshit Maharaj, whatever body he had, that's not body coming from the spiritual world. Right? The blood in the body, the veins, the flesh, the food he eats. Right? In the spiritual world, there's a different body which doesn't require dependence on resources, air and all. Here the body, a pure devotee requires that. So he gave up all that. earth, water, fire, air, ether. On which there is dependence of the body. Okay? So then there is relationships. Those relationships are also material, not necessarily that they are same relationships in the spiritual world. Like Parishit Maharaj is Abhimanyu's son. In the spiritual world also they are father and son? We don't know. If they are not, then this relationship is material, not spiritual. But he respects him as his father. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But we are very clearly know they both are Manjaris. They are not father and son. So this relationship, how it is permanent, it's temporary, just for the preaching purpose. So he respecting Bhaktivinoda Thakur as father is a material thing. That's transcendental, beyond the three modes of material nature. But still material in the sense it's not eternal. The blood in Prahlad Maharaj's body coming from Hiranyakashipu's semen is still material, though he is a completely transcendental person. So when scriptures talk about giving up material attachment, even these things have to be given up. The thought that Abhimanyu is my father, respectable father. It's material relationship, if at all it is. We don't know their other identity, if at all there is one. Is that okay? Yeah.
Here it is written, Srimad Bhagavatam gives the chance to change the quality of anxiety from matter to spirit. But in spiritual Vaikuntha, matlab beyond anxiety.
Yeah.
They still
Once we go to Vaikuntha, there is no anxiety. But till you go to Vaikuntha, you have anxiety on spiritual level.
What does that
When you are not in Krishna consciousness, you are worried about your food and clothing and apartment and partner. In Krishna, you are worried about tomorrow I should go for Mangala Arati and I should complete my rounds and I should perform my service and my authority should be pleased with me. So these are spiritual anxieties. So till we go to Vaikuntha, we will have these anxieties because our performance is still under the three modes, so we are not sure of success. In Vaikuntha, there is surety of success.
For matter, for spirit, like anxiety.
For our spiritual growth. Yeah. So here we are still doing trial and error method. Vaikuntha, there is trial and success. Whatever you do is successful. Here you may not be successful, so there is anxiety. So we are transferring the anxiety. The anxiety is still there, but we are transferring it. Okay? Yes, for spiritual growth and spiritual performance.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Prabhu, our process is to engage the material attachments in service of Krishna. So why these all kings in Bhagavatam, they just leave everything and then they go to jungle like that? They could start building temples, or start preaching or something like that, use their resources in that sense, rather than just going to enlighten people like that, something like that they could have done. So Bhagavatam is full of such examples.
Akshobhya. Why you left your house and came here? You could have earned money and given sadhu bhojan every day. Why you came here to eat sadhu bhojan? So at some point of time, one should retire. That's called sannyas. So the kings did that. Brahmachari, Grahast, Vanaprastha, sannyas. So when you are a Grahastha, you are earning money and using it in service of Krishna. Still some attachments are there to the money. So you have to even give up that. So you have to stop active economic life. That's renounced life. So after Grahastha ashram, there is Vanaprastha ashram and then sannyas ashram. Then it is complete. So the kings, they did what you are saying. They built temples, they fed the brahmanas, and then they retired. Yudhishthira Maharaj had a fixed program of feeding 1 lakh sannyasis every day and 72,000 yatis, completely renounced people, even beyond sannyasis. And to each sadhu who would come, and unlimited sadhus, and each sadhu he would come, he would give 100 maid servants to take care of them. If you actually read what Yudhishthira Maharaj used to do, you go mad. And all this was taken care by Draupadi. Yudhishthira Maharaj didn't have time to take care of all this. He had so many other things to do. So Draupadi would take care of all these programs, what we call CSR. But then he retired to exclusively serve Krishna. So sannyas is important. To retire from active grastha life, active earning life, active social life. Because when you are doing all these, building temples and all, and you are earning, you still have to do some material things. You still have to say hi, hello to others. How are you? And you have to smile. And 10 people will ask, how are you? And you have to say, yes, I am fine. So you have to retire from all this. Right? Yes.
Here in Purport, Prabhupada writes that by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one gets free from material attachments and enter into the kingdom of fearlessness. So, just by hearing, we will be free from material attachments. How this works, like how this science works.
Yes, just by hearing, you get attached to Krishna. And the more you get attached to Krishna, the material attachment goes away. If you hear every day about gold, your attachment to iron will go away or not? If you hear every day of America, your attachment to India will go away. And if you hear of ISKCON Los Angeles, right? So hearing is very powerful. Hearing is a complete process. So just by hearing, everything will happen. There's a whole algorithm. There's a whole set of verses in first canto. Which chapter? Second chapter. That it starts with by serving great Vaishnavas, you get Vasudev Katha Ruchi. And then when you hear, the purity happens and so many things. There's a whole thing just by hearing. So just by hearing it will happen. And if you apply what you hear, it will happen faster. But if you hear nicely, the application, inspiration for application will also happen. The laziness will go away. If for next 3 hours, the only thing you hear is आश्रम में डेंगू बहुत फैला हुआ है मत जाओ, a fake news from say 10-12 senior brahmacharis, would you go to ashram? You generate fear. So when hearing can give you fear, hearing can give you fearlessness also. And we saw that in COVID. So much fear was generated. So many people committed suicides only because of fear that I have COVID, my family will also get, I should not go home. They committed suicide because of this. Right? So when hearing can give fear, hearing can give fearlessness. Same thing. The quality has to change. Right? Next.
इति राज्ञा उपादिश्य विप्रा जातकको विदा लब्धा परिचित्य सर्वे प्रति जग्मु स्वकान् गृहान्. Thus, those who were expert in astrological knowledge and in performance of the birth ceremony instructed King Yudhishthira about the future history of his child. Then, being sumptuously remunerated,
They all returned to their respective homes. The Vedas are the store.
Okay. We skip this purport because we have less time. Is that okay? You please read it. If you have a question, you are free to ask. This is just talking about Karma Kand, Upasana Kand, and other things. Next verse you read, Hemgiri.
स एष लोके विख्यात परीक्षित इति यत् प्रभु पूर्वं दृष्टम् अनूढायं परीक्षेत नरेश्व इह. So his son would become famous in the world as Parikshit, examiner, because he would come to examine all human beings in his search after that personality whom he saw before his birth. Thus he would come to constantly contemplate him.
Purport.
Maharaj Parikshit, fortunate as he was, got the impression of the Lord even in the womb of his mother, and thus his contemplation on the Lord was constantly with him. Once the impression of the transcendental form of the Lord is fixed in one's mind, one can never forget him in any circumstance. Child Parikshit, after coming out of the womb, was in the habit of examining everyone to see whether he was the same personality whom he first saw in the womb. But no one could be equal to or more attractive than the Lord, and therefore he never accepted anyone. But the Lord was constantly with him by such examination, and thus Maharaj Parikshit was always engaged in devotional service of the Lord by remembrance. Srila Jiva Goswami remarks in this connection that every child, if given an impression of the Lord from his very childhood, certainly becomes a great devotee of the Lord like Maharaj Parikshit. One may not be as fortunate as Maharaj Parikshit to have the opportunity to see the Lord in the womb of his mother. But even if he is not so fortunate, he can be made so if the parents of the child desire him to be so. There is a practical example in my personal life in this connection. My father was a pure devotee of the Lord, and when I was only 4 or 5 years old, my father gave me a couple of forms of Radha and Krishna. In a playful manner, I used to worship these deities along with my sister, and I used to imitate the performances of a neighboring temple of Radha Govinda. By constantly visiting this neighboring temple and copying the ceremonies in connection with my own deities of play, I developed a natural affinity for the Lord. My father used to observe all the ceremonies befitting my position. Later on, these activities were suspended due to my association in school and colleges, and I became completely out of practice. But in my youthful days, when I met my spiritual master Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, again I revived my old habit, and the same playful deities became my worshipful deities in proper regulation. This was followed up until I left the family connection, and I am pleased that my generous father gave the first impression, which was developed later into regulative devotional service by His Divine Grace Maharaj. By His Divine Grace, Maharaj Prahlad also advised that such impressions of a godly relation must be impregnated from the beginning of childhood, otherwise one may miss the opportunity of the human form of life, which is very valuable, although it is temporary like others.
Okay, so this verse and purport is very important. If ISKCON applies, lots of load on IVF will reduce. If young children are given Krishna consciousness, then they grow up, they take it easily. So the struggle is less. Srila Prabhupada gives his own example, that his father gave him deities and he playfully worshipped with his sister. And later on, when he came in contact with his spiritual master, everything was revived very easily. So when there is proper Garbhadan Samskar and childhood Krishna conscious atmosphere and association, then the child grows up, and even if he gives it up in between, out of youthful nature, he can easily revive it by association of devotees. It just has, there is not less struggle. So, but nevertheless, Krishna conscious process is very powerful. If somebody is not having that opportunity, still he can be preached and he can become a devotee. But ISKCON as a society can avail this opportunity that young children also need to be preached. There should be good children's program in all communities, so that they grow up as devotees, or if they leave it, they can revive it easily. Like we have Rasbihari. He's son of Nitai Prabhu. And from childhood he is coming to temple, taking darshan. And now he's with us in Bhakti Vaibhav class. And in between sometimes we may have not seen him. His study days and all, you were less, right, coming? Now everything is revived in Brahmacharya ashram. Not that you lost Krishna consciousness, I'm just saying, less time. So everybody can get that opportunity. So ISKCON as a community requires, even this is very important. Additionally important is Gurukul, to have young boys trained up in Shastras and Vedic culture. Okay, whichever ISKCON Jew lacks. We don't have a good program for children. Maybe a little bit here and there. Okay, next.
सराजपुत्रो ववृदे आशु शुक्लो इवोडुपः आयुनुपान पितृभिः काष्ठभिरिव सोन्वहम्. As the moon in its waxing fortnight develops day after day, so the royal prince Parikshit very soon developed luxuriantly under the care and full facilities of his guardian grandfathers.
Next.
यक्षमानो अश्वमेधेन ज्ञातिद्रोह जिहासया राजा लब्धधनो दध्यो नान्यत्र करदण्डयो. Just as this time King Yudhishthir was considering performing a horse sacrifice to get freed from sins incurred from fighting with kinsmen, but he became anxious to get some wealth, for there were no surplus funds outside of fines and tax collection. Purport. As the Brahmanas and Vipras had a right to be subsidized by the state executive head had a right to collect taxes and fines from the citizens. After the battle of Kurukshetra, the state treasury was exhausted, and therefore there was no surplus fund except the fund from tax collection and fines. Such funds were sufficient only for the state budget, and having no excess fund, the king was anxious to get more wealth in some other way in order to perform the horse sacrifice. Maharaj Yudhishthir wanted to perform this sacrifice under the instruction of Bhishma Dev.
So even though the Mahabharat war was Dharma Yudh, but still violence is violence. So Yudhishthira Maharaj felt that some sinful activity has been done. That doesn't mean he should not go for war. Any profession which is honestly done, and if it has some faults, still the profession has to be done. But then there are sacrifices to negate those sinful activities. So Maharaj Yudhishthira wanted to do Ashwamedh sacrifice. Even Bhishma Pitama instructed him so that he can negate the sinful reactions. But then there was no surplus fund. So we'll see what happens next. Next.
तद अभिप्रेतम आलक्ष्य भ्रातरो अच्युत चोदित धनम प्राहिणम आजरूर उद्दीचाम दिशि भूरिश. Understanding the hearty wishes of the king, his brothers, as advised by the infallible Lord Krishna, collected sufficient riches from the north left by King Marut.
Okay, so purport you read is just a story of Marut. So Pandava, especially Arjuna, he went with Krishna, with the help of Krishna, and collected lots of gold left by King Marut and his priest when they did sacrifice. Even today, whatever activities we do, there are some sinful reactions. And we should do with sacrifice?
Sankirtan Yagya.
Sankirtan. That's most important. We chant and hear the holy name of Krishna. So all the sinful reactions we participate. knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally, that is eradicated. Next verse.
तेन संवृत संहारो धर्मपुत्रो युधिष्ठिर वाजिमेद स्त्रिभिर्भूतो यज्ञे सम्यजद्धरि.
By those riches, the king could procure the ingredients for 3 horse sacrifices. Thus, the pious king Yudhishthir, who was very fearful after the battle of Kurukshetra, pleased Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead.
So he did 3 horse sacrifices. So much money, Dhananjay, Arjuna is called Dhananjay. So much dhan was collected. He did 3 horse sacrifices, and that's how he pleased Lord Krishna. So we now read the purport. This purport describes about Yudhishthira Maharaj and the sacrifice, and that even we can be sinful when Yudhishthira Maharaj is considering himself as sinful. So we should also chant the holy name of Krishna, because this sacrifice is not practical today. Okay, next verse. Who is reading? Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Lord Krishna. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, being invited to the sacrifice by Maharaj Yudhishthir, saw it that they were performed by qualified, twice born Brahmanas. After that, for the pleasure of the relatives, the Lord remained a few months.
Purport.
Lord Shri Krishna was invited by Maharaj Yudhishthir to look into the supervision of the performances of Yajna, and the Lord, to abide by the order of his elder cousin, caused the performance of Yajnas by learned twice born Brahmanas. Simply taking birth in the family of a Brahmana does not make one qualified to perform Yajnas. One must be twice born by proper training and initiation from the bona fide Acharya. The once born scions of Brahmana families are equal with the once born Shudras, and such Brahman bandhus or unqualified once born men have no right to accept the priesthood for performing any kind of fruitive sacrifice. Such once born scions must be rejected for any purpose of religious or Vedic function. Lord Sri Krishna was entrusted to look after this arrangement, and perfect as he is, he caused the yajnas to be performed by the bona fide twice born Brahmanas for successful execution.
Yeah, okay, clear. Next.
O Sonak, thereafter the Lord, having bade farewell to King Yudhishthir, Draupadi and other relatives, started for the city of Dwarka, accompanied by Arjuna and other members of the Yadu dynasty.
Okay, that ends the first chapter. So now you will see again there is a side track. Now Sutta Goswami, while discussing this, is not continuing with Parikshit Maharaj's death further. There is some side track because some other events happen in the palace, which will be discussed in the next chapter. Then Krishna's disappearance will be discussed. Then again he will come back to Parikshit Maharaj. Okay? So before I start the next chapter, I need to see this. There was this notes, what students handbook. So, are we okay to do skits, or you want only this format? What is going on? Skit is okay? Huh? So next chapter we will not discuss as we are discussing now. We'll discuss some little bit, but next chapter we'll do 4 skits. So we'll have 4 groups. But I don't know absent and present of some boys. So whoever is there now, we'll divide them into 4. Huh? But the skit will work only if you do come and you prepare. So you all have time for preparation? Huh? Okay, so what we'll do is in each group we'll add extra players. So if somebody is absent or somebody is not part of the preparation, still the skit is possible. Is that okay? Okay. So those who are not here, and if they are ready to participate in the skit and they are your friends, you include them in your group. Okay? So I'll divide into 4. How will we divide? Okay, let me give roll numbers. Okay? No, roll numbers of those who are present in the room. Okay, I am giving you a new roll number. That's temporary. Don't think this is permanent, eternal. Your roll number in the spiritual world. Only for this skit. Okay? So I'll point out. You just say 1, 2, 3. Huh?
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, only sequence. 4, 5,
6,
7.
8, 9, 11.
Outside? Vishnu Tattva? Who else is outside? हाँ क्या लैग है क्या? 11. You?
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26.
26. So 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, 21, 25. These 7 people in first group. Did you hear? लिखो बोर्ड पे लिखो आ जाओ गोविंद कुमार ऊपर से नीचे लिखो हाँ 1 ऐसा लिखो 1 2 3 4 2 3 4 नहीं 5 6 7 8 नहीं 5 लिखो 5 वो लाइन छोड़ दो 5 नहीं 6 इधर लिखो 6 इधर लिखो लेट मी डू इट ओके नहीं 26 okay you add some devotees if you have 27 28 okay so first group is 1 5 9 13 17 21 25 second is 2 6 10 14 18 22 26 third fourth clear you find your groups you remember your roll numbers why don't you sit in group now so that you know who is in your group Okay, leader is 13, 14, 15, 16. Who is 13? Who is 13? Chaitanya is leader for the first group. All those who are in first group remember Chaitanya. Who is 14? Anant Narsingh is leader for second group. So all those who are in second group remember him. 15? Radha Krishna. 16? Okay, so you remember your group leaders. This is not authority. Leader is not authority. He just facilitating. Huh? Okay, now I'll give you the topic. So, 13th wala group, Chaitanya group. Vidura visits Yudhishthir Maharaj. And many things happen. Then he speaks to Dhritarashtra. So, till he speaks to Dhritarashtra, that part, your skit. Okay? 14 wala group, Anand Narsingha. Yours is most important. Vidura and Dhritarashtra's conversation. Okay? You can add narrators and all. 15th wala group, yours is Dhritarashtra, Vidura and Gandhari going to the forest and whatever happens, including what Narad Muni shares what will happen. Okay? And 16 wala group, Narad Muni visiting Yudhishthir Maharaj and sharing what happens there. Is that okay? So in your group you can have one devotee who can little bit summarize at the end also the whole thing, which otherwise I would have done. Okay? And those who will perform the skit, audience should have a paper and pen, and in the skit what they think got missed, they should write it down. What got missed? It is not a fault finding. The skit will make us learn something, but if some learning is missed, that will be covered by your report. It's not a fault finding, because no skit can cover everything, right? So something can get missed. And if you remember while seeing the skit, oh, I read this is missed, so you can note it down. So we'll share those notes. Is that okay? And there are some purports highlighting certain things, so that I will highlight. We'll read once the translations. So this will be a little different format. It will help you to prepare, and maybe it will save some time. Okay? So when we can do this? Tomorrow morning hour? So each team, how much? 10 minutes? 5 minutes also sufficient, right? 10 minutes? 10 minutes tomorrow, we'll do this. So now we'll start chapter 13. Is that okay? Sorry, chapter 14. Okay, why don't we just read chapter 13, only translations now? No, that will save time. Anyway, you have to read for your skit. So we start 14. Huh? Is that okay? So when you are preparing for your skit, don't just read about your skit. Read the whole chapter. At least the translations. So you are aware what is going to happen in the next skit and what they missed. Reading the translations only, 30-40 verses, will not take much time. So I would suggest when you are sitting for your skit, first all together read all the translations. Then your translation you focus, your skit you focus. Okay? And those who are very busy, they have an evening program today, can't do it, just discuss it among your group. You can take some small duty in the skit, maybe fanning the Yudhishthir Maharaj or something like that. Right? Okay? Good. Chapter 14. Which is chapter 14? Oh, this also we can do. Okay, we read this 14 now. So chapter 13 we are doing tomorrow. Is there enough time for everybody to prepare? Today evening? You want to read? I thought when you are doing skit, you have to anyway read, so it will save time. After the skits, we'll go for a reading. Is that okay? Vishnu Tattva? You all read, prepare your skit, perform it, hear the reports, then sit with me for the chapter. English? So chapter 13 and 14 are not connected sequentially. You can understand chapter 14 even if you have not read 13. So that's fine. Hmm? Okay. So chapter 12 and 14 get connected. Because in 12 Krishna leaves, then Arjuna accompanies. Okay? 14.
श्रुत्वाच सम्प्रस्थितो द्वारकायां जिष्णो बन्धुदिदीक्षया ज्ञातुं च पुण्यश्लोकस्य कृष्णस्य च विचेष्टितम्. Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, Arjuna went to Dwarka to see Lord Sri Krishna and other friends, and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord descended on earth for the protection of the faithful and annihilation of the impious. So after the battle of Kurukshetra and establishment of Maharaj Yudhishthir, the mission of Lord was complete. The Pandavas, especially Sri Arjun, were eternal companion of Lord, and therefore Arjun went to Dwarka to hear from the Lord of his next program of work.
Yeah, so that's clear, right? Next.
A few months passed, and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthir then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum, more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. Millions and billions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his one breathing period. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy, and only due to the sun can we have the necessities of life. Therefore, during the personal presence of Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence, just as there is a full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun. Maharaj Yudhishthir observed some discrepancies in his kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjuna, who was long absent, and there was also no news about Dwarka's well-being. He suspected the disappearance of Lord Krishna, otherwise there would have been no possibility of fearful omens.
Omens. This is a very interesting knowledge in Vedic scriptures to understand future events or events happening at another location based on omens. Sometimes we also have some small understanding of this. Your left hand, left eye, or left thigh, or left shoulder shivers, and it's indicating something. Not every time it is experienced in the same way. Or they used to say the crow comes in the house, that means a guest is going to come, relative is going to come, something like that. So in this chapter we'll see Yudhishthira Maharaj sees many omens because he's very sensitive. To be able to understand omen, one should be very sensitive in mode of goodness. The science is lost now. Recently there's one devotee in Varnashram ministry has written a whole book on omens. I have not read it. So when Arjuna did not return, Maharaj Yudhishthira, he saw some inauspicious omens, fearful, which we will read now. They will be described. And he thought that maybe Krishna disappeared. because he's so attached to Krishna. See, sometimes we see the mother is very attached to the child, and if the child is in the school and something hurts the child, the mother feels some change of feelings in the heart. And it comes true also. So when mother-child can have such a bond, even two friends sometimes have such a bond, two brothers have such a bond, it's possible, it happens. My beloved friend or somebody is not in good condition, I can feel that. And that's possible. So what about Yudhishthira and Krishna, who have such a great bond of love? So Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling, and those feelings are being confirmed by nature. When Krishna appeared, there were so many auspicious things in nature. The moon became full. It was Krishna appeared on Ashtami. It was not Purnima, but the moon became full. And the breeze was very soft. And all the flowers were blooming and giving fragrance. And the Brahmanas were very peaceful. And the ocean was less roaring. And all the directions were joyful. And all the cows were giving more and more milk. And the animals were happy. When Hiranyakashipu appeared, not appeared, birth, there are so many inauspicious things. And deities had tears in the eyes, and cows were giving blood instead of milk. So in the same way, when Krishna is disappearing, there are fearful omens, inauspicious omens, not auspicious thing. Okay? Next. Actually, I was thinking to give this also an assignment, all the list of omens. But anyway, we'll read now. It will become too much, right?
After the sessions, we not have much time for preparation as such.
For the skit.
Generally, for much homework.
So that's why I'm not giving now.
Because CV closed book exam is also there.
Okay.
And sloka recitation also partly going on.
Oh,
Test.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Many devotees are pending with myself, which is struggling to do my shlokas. All three are pending and CV also left.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so, but that skit is possible, right?
What would you I'll try.
Try it out. We don't want a very great performance. You just cover the content. It helps in learning. So whatever is possible, you try it out. Is that okay? Everybody okay for that? Are you saying yes because you can't say no? No, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Vishnu Tattva Prabhu will try it out. If in your group you have less time to give for this, there's a bigger group. You can take a smaller duty. So your group can meet just for 30 minutes, read it, and it's not a great performance we are looking for. Okay. Next.
Text. Kalasya chagatim rodram viprayasta rudharminaha papiyase nunamvatam krodha lobha atmana. He saw that the direction of eternal time had changed, and this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regulatories. The people in general had become very greedy and angry and deceitful, and he saw that they were adopting foul means of livelihood. Purport. When civilization is disconnected from the loving relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, symptoms like changes of seasonal regulations, foul means of livelihood, greed, anger, and fraudulence become rampant. The change of seasonal regulations refers to one season's atmosphere becoming manifest in another season. For example, the rainy seasons being transferred to autumn, or fructification of fruits and flowers from one season in another season. A godless man is invariably greedy, angry, and fraudulent. Such a man can earn his livelihood by any means, black or white.
During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, all the above symptoms were conspicuous by their absence. But Maharaj Yudhishthir was astonished to experience even a slight change in the godly atmosphere of his kingdom, and at once he suspected the disappearance of the Lord. Foul means of livelihood indicates deviation from one's occupational duty. There are the prescribed duties for everyone, such as the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. But anyone who deviates from his prescribed duty and still declares that he belongs to original social caste is following a foul means of livelihood. A man becomes too greedy for wealth and power when he has no higher objective in life, and when he thinks that this earthly life of a few years is all in all. Ignorance is the cause of all these anomalies in human society, and to remove this ignorance, especially in the age of degradation, the powerful sun in the shape of Srimad Bhagavatam is there to distribute light.
So the list of omens have started being described, and Yudhishthira Maharaj saw a change in the way people are earning and their character becoming greedy, angry, doing frauds, dishonest ways of earning. And this is all because of ignorance of my relationship with Krishna, taking this temporary world and temporary life as all in all. And then irregularities in seasons and other natural irregularities in nature. So that's the start of degradation. During Yudhishthira's time, these were not present. So now when he saw the presence, he understood that there is a cause behind it. And the cause of degradation is Krishna is living. Krishna has left. So in the presence of Krishna, things are good. In absence of Krishna, things are not good. Like sun and darkness. In the presence of sun, there is no darkness. In the absence of sun, there is darkness. And in darkness, you have fear. And ghosts and thieves and owls are active. And maybe call centers employees are active. So darkness gives rise to so many things. When sun comes, all these things disappear. So in the same way, our heart, when we chant the holy name and the holy name enters our heart, then all the dirty things disappear. But when we don't have chanting in our life, then they all appear. So we add Krishna to our life, then all dirty things will disappear. If we don't add Krishna, we are not Krishna conscious, then we'll remain like an animal. Okay?
What that means, Prabhuji? Conspicuous by their absence.
Conspicuous means presence.
Presence by their absence.
So, just like, do you really know there is salt in your food?
Yes.
But if it is not there, you will know more.
Yeah.
Salt is present by its absence. So when the salt is absent, you talk about it more. So we say, suppose the cook forgot to put salt in sabji. Then the statement can be made, salt is present by its absence.
We are more aware of
Yes.
recognizing the salt when it's not there.
Yes, when it's there. So the word is conspicuous. Salt is conspicuous by its absence.
So here it means when these symptoms are not there. So now when
The greed, fault and all these things were conspicuous by their absence. Means they were not there and that's why they were known.
That's why this kingdom is famous, so that they were known because this kingdom is no greed.
Yes. Yes. So when they little bit appeared, there was an immediate alert and observation. Hey, ye to nahi tha itne saal. Like some devotee not there since 2-3 years and he comes for Mangala Aarti, everybody will know. One who comes every day, sometimes you may forget whether he came today or not. Right? So as soon as the symptoms appear, some change is happening. Okay? All good? Next.
all ordinary transactions and dealing become polluted with cheating, even between friends and in familial affair. There was always misunderstanding between father, mother, and son, between well wishers, and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel. Purport. A conditioned living being is endowed with four principles of malpractice, namely error, insanity, inability, and cheating. These are signs of imperfection, and out of the four, the propensity to cheat other is most prominent, and this cheating practice is there in the conditioned soul, because the conditioned soul are primarily in the material world, imbued with an unnatural desire to Lord it over the material world. A living being in his pure state is not conditioned by the law, because in his pure state he is a conscious that a living being is eternally subservient to the supreme being, and thus it is always good for him to remain subservient instead of falsely trying to lord it over the property of supreme lord. In the conditioned state, the living being is not satisfied, even if he actually become the lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes the victim of all kinds of cheating, even with his nearest and most intimate relation. In such an unsatisfactory state of affair, there is no harmony, even between father and son, or between husband and wife. But all these containing difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is the devotional service of the Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by contraction through devotional service to the Lord and nothing else. Maharaj Yudhishthira, having observed the disparates conjectured the disappearance of the Lord from the earth.
So the defect of cheating was visible in many transactions, day-to-day transactions, and between sibling brothers and father and children and mother and children and husband and wife and business transactions. And this is so much prevalent today. Most of the business today is cheating. Most of the transactions today is cheating, and two people meet and they only plan to cheat each other, whether money-wise or otherwise. So that's very much prevalent because of greed, because of material desires, because of unwanted desires, that somebody has a desire to earn quick money and somebody else exploits the desire by cheating that person, and this person falls in the trap thinking that, yeah, this is possible. So that's very bad. In spiritual life also there is, in spiritual name of spiritual growth also there is cheating by so-called people who wear the dress of a sadhu, but they are actually just there to amass money or amass followers or name and fame or some material prestige or something material. So a devotee should not cheat others and should not get cheated. A devotee should not exploit others and should not get exploited. And a devotee should not abuse others and should not get abused. The society is full of cheaters and cheated, and we should be careful not to cheat others and not to get cheated as well. We should be careful about it. Like Krishna's Aarti plate. I should be careful not to eat in it, but also I should be careful not to allow others to eat in it. If somebody else is eating and I keep silent thinking, I am not eating, he is eating. No. I should protect Krishna's Aarti plate. Similarly, this body and this life, I have surrendered to Krishna, it's Krishna's. So I should not cheat others, I should not get cheated. I should not involve myself in sense gratification, I should not allow others to involve me in their sense gratification. So devotee should be honest, truthful, not cheat others to gain something. That is where big no-no. You'll spoil your name, you'll spoil your society's name, your guru's name. You'll damage the preaching activity by cheating others. Okay? Next.
काले तो अनुगतेन भाद्य आदरं प्रकृतं दृष्टवानुजं रूपम्. Translation. In course of time, it came to pass that people in general became accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaj Yudhishthir, observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother, Purport. Such a pious king as Maharaj Yudhishthir at once became perturbed when there were such inhuman symptoms as greed, anger, irreligiosity, and hypocrisy rampant in society. It appears from this statement that all these symptoms of degraded society were unknown to the people of the time, and it was astonishing for them to have experienced them with the advent of the Kali Yuga or the age of coral.
Yeah, okay? Next.
बन्धुदृक्षय ज्ञातुं च पुण्यश्लोकस्य कृष्णश्च विचेष्टितम्. Maharaj Yudhishthir said to his younger brother Bhimsen, I sent Arjuna to Dwarka to meet his friends and to learn from personality of Godhead Krishna of his program of work. Gata.
Next.
Gataha sampadhana sa bhimasena tavanujaha nayati kasyava hetor naham vedam manjasa. Since he departed, even 7 months have passed, yet he has not returned. I do not know factually how things are going there.
Next.
Api devarshinaadishtaha sakalo yamupastitaha yadatmano angam akridam bhagavanu krishyas. Is he going to quit his earthly pastime as Devarshi Narada indicated? Has that time already arrived? Purport.
Yeah.
As we have discussed many times, the personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna has many plenary expansions, and each and every one of them, although equally powerful, executes different functions. In Bhagavad Gita, there are different statements by the Lord. Each of these statements is meant for different plenary portions or portions of plenary portions. For example, Sri Krishna, the Lord, says in Bhagavad Gita, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a prominent rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Bhagavad Gita 4:7. To deliver the faithful, to annihilate the miscreants, and also to re-establish the principles of occupational duty, I appear in every age. Bhagavad Gita 4:8. If I should cease to work, then all humanity would be misdirected. I would also be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would therefore destroy the peace of all sentient beings. Bhagavad Gita 3.25-4. Whatever action a great man performs, common men will follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Bhagavad Gita 3.21. All the above statements by the Lord apply to different plenary portions of the Lord. namely his expansions such as Shankarshan, Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Narayana. These are all he himself in different transcendental expansions. Still, the Lord as Sri Krishna functions in a different sphere of transcendental exchange with different grades of devotees. And yet, Lord Sri Krishna, as he appears once every 24 hours of Brahma's time, in each and every universe, all his transcendental pastimes are displayed in each and every universe in a routine spool. When in that routine spool, the functions of Lord Krishna, Lord Vasudeva, etc., are complex problems for the layman. There is no difference between the Lord's self and the Lord's transcendental body. The expansion execute differential activities. When the Lord, however, appears in his person as Lord Sri Krishna, his other plenary portions also join in him by his inconceivable potency called Yogamaya. And thus the Lord Krishna of Vrindavan is different from the Lord Krishna of Mathura or Lord Krishna of Dwarka. The Virat Rupa of Lord Krishna is also different from him by his inconceivable potency. The Virat Rupa exhibited on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is the material conception of his form. Therefore, it should be understood that when Lord Krishna was apparently killed by the bow and arrow of the hunter, the Lord left his so-called material body in the material world. The Lord is Kaivalya. For him, there is no difference between matter and spirit because everything is created from him. Therefore, his quitting one sort of body or accepting another body does not mean that he is like the ordinary living being. All such activities are simultaneously one and different by his inconceivable potency. When Maharaj Yudhishthir was lamenting the possibility of his disappearance, it was just in pursuance of a custom of lamenting the disappearance of a great friend. But factually, the Lord never quits his transcendental body, as is misconceived by less intelligent persons. Such less intelligent persons have been condemned by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, and they are known as the Mudhas. That the Lord left his body means that he left again his plenary portions in the respective dhams, transcendental abodes, as he left his Virat Rupa in the material world.
Okay, we will end now for today. This purport has brought up some good concepts which will be discussed in few more verses in the same chapter towards the end. So we'll have more discussion on that, including more questions on that. Is that okay? We end now? Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.